Was there a lack of confidence in the police force in Ottawa? Is this why Chief Peter Sloly stepped down? Here's the clip.
Thank you, Mr. Sloly. I'd like to continue on this. Do you think that had you stayed, the events would have resolved themselves as they did?
I can't engage in that conjecture, sir. I'm just glad they ended safely and successfully.
Well, I appreciate that, but I still think there's something that we haven't been able to access yet in your decision making, and that's the relationship that you had with political leadership in this city, and a sense of lack of confidence, I guess, that you had the authority within your own police force to resolve this. Were you concerned that your officers would not follow the orders as prescribed in the plan that you developed?
Not at all, sir.
So if you didn't have the lack of confidence from your officers, and you didn't have the lack of confidence from your political leadership in the municipality, why resign?
Again, you asked me a question, I believe, did I have lack of confidence in my officers following orders? The answer is no. Did we have challenges within the organization, as every other organization did, around coordination, communication, morale? Yes, we did. Mm-hmm. So it's not a universal, unqualified, I trusted every single person in every single circumstance. No executive has that benefit that I'm aware of. Are you asking whether or not there were expressions of lack of confidence from my board, from city councillors, from MPPs and MPs? I think the record is quite clear. There is certainly newspaper articles and open source social media, and I'm sure you have access to that information, probably greater than I even do at this point.
Were you concerned at all about your the officers that we did see on screen and were quoted as being supportive of the convoy and questioning the actions that the police were taking?
I appreciate the question, sir. I'm only aware of a handful of those. Every complaint that came to me during my time in office was assigned for full investigation. Where there is evidence, I ask for a full prosecution. I don't know the status of those cases. But I can tell you in literally every single major protest that I've been involved in 2 police jurisdictions, there are human beings who are sworn as police officers that have a level of compassion towards the cause, but still rise above their personal feelings and deliver excellent services, even if they may make expressions. I can tell you when we had the Black Lives Matter March in 2021, we spent a lot of our operational planning time before the event to make sure that we could understand compassionately the feelings of our racialized officers and non-racialized officers who were sympathetic to the causes aligned within Black Lives Matter, but could still go out and do their job and do it successfully and safely, and they did so. So this is not a unique situation in policing.
Do you believe that training with respect to the sentiments of the protesters needs to be incorporated in police training as well?
I actually believe it is incorporated, but my recommendations do call for new policing standards, national standards, training that supports that, and inspectorate generals that will make sure that that's audited and the data provided to policymakers and decision makers going forward.
And that's in the table, in the document you're...
Senator Harder, your time is up.
Thank you.
Senator Harder, 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chair, and Mr. Sloly. Thank you for your ongoing testimony before us. I know that we appreciate the consideration that you're giving us, and I'm sure that it is not always easy for you. I appreciate that, particularly when you talk about your forces and the pressures that they were under. Earlier, you talked to us about the lack of confidence that you felt from at the time with lack of action to dismantle the occupation. That frustration was shared by a lot of your citizens here in Ottawa. And I'd like you to elaborate a little bit about the frustration that we as citizens felt when we saw jerry cans of gas being delivered to the convoy, support being expressed from some quarters to the convoy, while at the same time businesses were shuttered. The Rideau Club was Rideau Centre was shuttered. The older citizens of Ottawa felt insecure in terms of simply leaving their apartments, let alone getting to work. So that frustration was, I'm sure, something that you both observed and felt was legitimate frustration.
Absolutely, sir. In my opening comments, I spoke to that. Actually, my closing comments of my opening statement, I spoke to that. That was a very real and live situation, and I have great empathy and compassion for the people that approached me during my time in office, expressed their concerns, frustrations, and even stronger language. And I understood that, and we did our best to address that as quickly as we could.
Well, that's what I'm trying to actually get to in my questioning. Could that situation, could we have got to the situation we eventually enjoyed more quickly had the invocation of the Emergencies Act been sooner? My question, as you might know from the transcripts to ministers, was what took you so long? Did you ever feel, as the chief of police here in Ottawa, gosh, I wish help was on its way?
Every day. My priority from the first 24 hours and seeing what arrived in my city was resources. My first indication of the scale of resources that we would need and the specialization of the capabilities of those resources was on February 2nd, when I met with the public order commanders from my own organization as well as other Ontario organizations. When I put to them, what are we going to need to safely, lawfully end this? The scale at that point was every single public order officer in Ontario and many more from outside of Ontario.
And did you and your fellow leadership from across the province express that need to the political authorities in the jurisdiction that you worked?
It was expressed through the partners that we had, municipally, provincially, and federally. No doubt, as professional as they are, they would have briefed their political channels. But until the official announcement that I made for the 1800, that then went to the chair and the mayor and a signed letter to other two levels of government, we were working through the policing construct. We formally engaged the other two levels of government on the 7th
in your
of February.
11 points that you hopefully will flesh out. Do you make comments and recommendations with respect to a more effective and timely coordination at the political level in circumstances like this?
I've avoided that, sir. But you will see comments around more effective coordination, certainly between police agencies and national security agencies in future events.
And could you elaborate on that? Because as an observer, I think one of the things we saw was a sense of silos and lack of coordination, at least on a timely basis.
I think you've expressed that extremely well, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Final question, Senator Campbell. You're on mute, Senator Campbell.
I have just a short question, and it's that, so while there was reports in the media that there was ongoing negotiations, be it with the mayor or whoever, and I understand when you say that there was no there, that there were numerous people all saying they were in charge. But it struck me at the time that the board of the police board for Ottawa stated that she was not aware of any negotiations that were going on. And my question is that normal in the Ottawa Police Service that the police board would not be aware of the mayor carrying on negotiations? And I'm not commenting whether they're right or wrong. I'm just trying to get my head around how this information is disseminated so that the people who are making decisions are better able to understand what's going on.
If I understood your question, sir, and if not, please recorrect me, but our municipal board is made up of 3 sitting councillors and a 4th civilian designated by the mayor. The mayor has the right, first right of refusal to sit on the board and can designate that to another councillor. In this case, Mayor Watson designated that to Councillor King. So there were 3 city councillors who actively participated as board members, and actively participated as council members when emergency council meetings were called. So again, I can't speak for who knew and who called who and when and why, but there were 3 elected city councillors on the board during my entire tenure in office, my entire tenure during the events of the convoy.
So again, there is no clear line of communication going on. I understand there's a clear line of communication from you to your officers, but there's no clear line of communication from your political bosses, the mayor and the police board, with regards to any ongoing negotiations.
Again, I can't speak to that, sir. There may have been, there may not have been. I just can't speak to it. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much to all members. Mr. Sloly had agreed to come for 2 hours. His 2 hours is up. Mr. Sloly, we would like to thank you very much for coming to committee tonight, and thank you for your candor. And again, I know every committee member would also very much like to thank you for your service both here in Canada and abroad. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, everybody.
We'll just take